which is the foundation regret, which is our failure to be responsible, conscientious, or prudent. And the second regret is about not taking the chances we should have. So somewhere down the line, I feel I'm more taking a route on the second category of the regret. It might be getting a bit puzzling for you as to where I'm going, but trust me, please stay with me for another 2-3 minutes. You will understand what am I trying to convey here. So there are three things that regret as an emotion can help you. One is it can improve your decisions, it can boost your performance, and it can deepen meaning. Okay? Let's look at how that works. It can be a blessing, like I said, right? But you have to pay attention to it, right? You have to look at how to solve for fixing that regret. So how do we counter that? So I have considered some nuances here of regret, and then I've tried to put a question mark in the top row, top right column, to understand what can counter regret. Okay, so if I look at focus as an aspect, right? Regret is mostly about past, while something that should counter this should talk about the present and the future. Talking about nature, regret is mostly negative, while we should be gunning for something that gets positive emotions in the way. So likewise, learning, it's about negative rumination on the lost stuff, orientation, looking back with dissatisfaction, and talking about impact, it can lead to being directionless. So if you look on the right hand side, the third column, right, we are looking for something that counters all these aspects of regret as an emotion. So my next question for you is, what could best represent this question mark? Any guesses? Say that again. No, if I were to talk about just one word, something which is tangible, it could be an emotion, it could be anything under the sun. Go ahead, please. You were saying something. I didn't mean to. Change. Okay. Any other guesses, folks? Failure. Did I hear that correct? Okay. Performance. Okay. I will get going here. It's purpose, right? And I have sort of put together some nuances of how this works. Purpose reduces regret. It reshapes regrets as opportunities, and it minimizes the future regrets. It balances past regrets. It helps bounce back from setbacks. So again, a lot of it, what I'm trying to say here, I'm going to not connect that to a book that I read some time back, and I will recommend that everybody reads it. Let's now connect the dots a bit. I'll come to that book shortly. So let's imagine that the life of an HR professional at their workplace, and let's look at how regret comes in the way of what they want to achieve. This is the book that I'm talking about, The Science of Storytelling by Will Storr. It's an amazing read. I would recommend that everybody who loves storytelling, right, must read it. So Will Storr suggests that we are all heroes of our own stories. Right? We are all fighting our battles against the plots that life throws in front of us, and we are trying to emerge out as heroes at the end of the day. Now, how does this work? So there is a subconscious and the conscious. The conscious is the world that we encounter every day, right? And subconscious is everything that comes to us, and then we process it, and then that's how we derive meaning out of that, right? So it's like subjectivity versus objectivity. For tech geeks out here, you can think it of as a machine learning model, right? Every query that comes their way, the model works on it, it adds to it, and it improves its understanding of how the world operates. So every experience teaches us something, and it enriches our subconscious. And this is how a plot develops. So plot is always A versus B, right? You pick up any movie, any plot, it will always be a hero versus villain. Okay, so in this case, it's the subconscious versus the conscious. And somewhere down the line, what happens is that we are thrown into a challenge where our subconscious goes for a toss. It's not able to really keep up with the kind of challenges the conscious world throws at us. And that's where, we learn a lot about ourselves, okay? And that's what we call as the theory of, the state of internal conflict. And we regret being in this chaos, right? So again, there is a concept called as theory of control. So as humans, we always want to be in control of the things in life, right? But that's like a passing cloud. Sometimes it is there, and sometimes it's not there. So whenever we are in this chaos, we try to counterattack. Okay, so our subconscious starts to work towards how do I get rid of what's happening across me. But then what happens is the plot also fights against the hero. So we are the hero and the plot. So it's like a battle, going on every day. I'm sure you would have seen glimpses of that in our professional lives, right? You try to do something and then you come across a challenge, then you try to learn something from it. So it's like an ever-evolving model that keeps going on and on and on. But what happens is that sometimes we give up on how it should actually work, right? And that's the darkest hour of the hero, right? Sometimes we give up. Okay, what do I do from here, right? I've tried almost everything possible, and the plot continues to be relentless, right? I mean, if say you are to your point around backouts, right? A lot of backouts happening. You're trying to sort of find ways to fix it, but there comes a time when you are totally lost, and then you don't know what to do, and then that's what I call the darkest hour. But that's where I think the transformation thing happens, and I'll come to that. So what comes to our rescue? It's purpose. It's purpose which keeps us moving in these dark hours and pushes us to fight back. At the end of it, we turn into something which is better, right? What we call as the self-transformation. So there are moments of regret, but it's the purpose which counters the regret, and ultimately at the end of it, it's a transformed, it's a new human being, it's a new you who emerges out of this battle. So I was so impressed by this gentleman's work. I pinged him on LinkedIn. He was kind enough to add me to his LinkedIn connection. I did tell him that it's wonderful work. So I don't think I'll be able to do justice to what this book is all about in these many slides. But it's a wonderful read. But I just want to bring up, why did I choose regret? So when I was thinking, what do I put in the slides here? I chose regret because it's a very intense emotion, and we all want to avoid it, right? So it's a marriage of something which is close to our hearts, right? Which has its highs and lows. So that's why I went with regret as the emotion that I can project in front of you when talking about why purpose is important. So mathematically, 1 by regret is purpose, right? If I were to put this in very simple terms, that's how I look at it, and eventually purpose leads to transformation. But again, why am I talking to you about all this, right? It's been 10 minutes now. I've been talking about all this. I'm hoping that some of you would have picked up this book by Simon Sinek, Start With Why, right? He's written a lot of great books, but this is what he has to say.
Let's talk a little bit about purpose. One of the things, I think one of the mistakes that people make is they think purpose comes from their job, right? And we see this in military and non-military, which is, I've been a whatever for so many years, and when then I lose my job or I retire, I now don't have a sense of purpose because I so closely associated my self-worth with the job that I did. And you said that happened even in the military, where I knew what my job was, I had a sense of purpose. And one wonders if those things are conflated, right? Which is, I had a sense of purpose for my job, and then when I didn't have the job, when I left the military, all of a sudden I didn't know what, I woke up in the morning, didn't know what to do. You had a sense of service because of the community, and now you've found a sense of service because you're literally in service to that community again. But it's not the job, it's the sense of service.
I don't even consider this a job or a career. I consider this my passion. I'm like, I will keep on doing this. You don't give your money. I love doing this. And it's funny, in my previous jobs, I'd get in trouble, like, hey, you're taking too much time off. Like, I don't care. I need to do these. I need to hang out with these guys. I need to take care of them. I need to do what I need to do. And I love it. And this is it for me. I'm fortunate and lucky enough to find my purpose in life.
And this is what I want to stress to any vet who's listening to this or watching this, which is the purpose is not your MOS.
Right.
Your purpose is not you're a saw gunner. Your purpose is not the job that you wake up to do every day. Your purpose is something bigger.
That was Simon Sinek on purpose. Okay, so at HR1 we do have a purpose. While we always had it when the company came into inception, but we took a lot of effort into stripping it into the bones, right? Stripping it to the bones and figuring out what this purpose should be. And this